Hello guys, Turtleags here, bringing you another AFK journey video. Today I am bringing you an updated King Croaker guide, and basically what I will do is go over King Croaker's kit first, that way you know exactly how his mechanics work. I'll then go one by one with 5 different team showcases, courtesy of Analytica, who compiled this optimal meta team basically visual that allows you to quickly determine which team consists of units that you own. We will go with 3 meta defining teams that have Rainier as the optimal support, and then we'll try to, you can say, like non-hypogen and non-celestial teams that also achieve quite a respectable score. And the goal with this guide is to basically elevate your performance, hopefully allow you guys to at least make it to top 50, top 100 of the Dream Realm, so that you can get those juicy temporal essence rewards. So let's first go over King Croaker's kit. So if we enter the battle here, we can actually get a close-up of his mechanics. Alright, so beginning with his ultimate, so he recovers 60 energy per second after a battle starts, but will not recover energy due to other circumstances. When energy is full, gains a magic barrier, but does not recover energy while this barrier is in effect. When taking damage, loses 75 energy and reduces this damage by 50%. So what this basically means, in layman's terms, is that you want to be able to do a lot of damage to him. The more damage you do to him, the less energy he has to wreak havoc on your team. So this will be kind of like a tricky situation where you want to, yes, you'll need defense, but you also want to emphasize your offense as well. And then for his magic bubble, so this is one of his main mechanics, shoots a magic bubble at the closest enemy at 15, 35, and 55 seconds into the battle. The target will be defeated outright if hit. And it is actually precisely for this reason that you do want to bring someone like Doran, who is able to take that one-hit KO hit, revive, and take another one-hit KO hit. And as you can see here, it's the closest enemy. So this, basically, Thorin is like perfect for a King Croaker because he's pretty much the only tank we have, the only melee unit I can think of right now besides Brutus who is able to take a one-hit KO and revive. For this reason, most of these team comps, I think all of these team comps, will be running Thorin as your main tank. And then if we keep moving onwards, after charging briefly, launches a water bomb at the area with the most enemies, dealing 220% damage to enemies within this tile, the 2 tiles. So for this reason, you actually kind of want to spread out your units such that you don't have everyone clumped up in the exact same spot. You want to ideally have like one person off to the side, and then you have your other clump there. And I think this actually matters more the weaker you are. So I started a free-to-play challenge yesterday, and I did actually pay very close attention to this mechanic and actually spread my units out into like 2 different groups. But as you get stronger, you don't really have to worry about this as much, although King Croaker does still hit pretty hard. And then finally, the last skill here deals 240% damage to enemies within 1 tile, knocking them back 1 tile and stunning them for 2.5 seconds. And so in this case, it's going to be Thorin until Thorin gets KO'd. All right, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and do the showcase. So I know this is super tiny here, this visual. I just don't want to block anything, but so basically the way Analytica compiled this team is that they basically had the most optimal team on the leftmost side, and then as we go down the list from left to right, you will notice that in general our final score is lower as we go more to the right. But I've tested these out. This, I would say, is pretty accurate for the optimal teams. The main thing really is you need to have Thorin, and then from there you just build the strongest team composition that's able to deal a lot of damage while at the same time maintain survivability of all your units. All right, so I already have the first one underway. Let me actually just optimize this here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and try this formation first. So remember the Star Shard spell, this spell right here, and the reason for this is because in addition to the haste and the HP gain of all the units, you also do true damage with this spell. So let's go ahead and begin. And guys, it's really rough. I'm on server 25, and even with the most optimal team, I am still getting kicked out of top 10 Like, I managed to scramble back into top 10 after investing in Corrin and Merrily, but man, the whales are whaling harder, and it's just really hard to maintain top 10. I think at this point I'm just going to have to resign to being top 20. Get 3 temporal essences per day instead of 4. I mean, at the end of the day, I kind of realized you just cannot stress over this sort of thing, so... But I mean, that's why you guys are watching this video, right? Because even if you don't have as deep pockets as the other whales or leviathans on your server, at least you can play smart. Yeah. Oh, and just kind of explaining how this team works. So Thorn is the main tank, being able to take 2 one-hit KOs. Smokey is your premier offensive healer who is able to, at Mythic Plus, take away the 12% of the maximum HP of the boss for 10 seconds. That was the blue aura earlier. You got Rainier at Mythic Plus, who is able to increase the damage taken by 25% by the enemy boss. And then we have Corrin, who is at Mythic Plus not only a shielder for your main for himself as well as the unit with the lowest HP, but also able to deal true damage that scales off of the enemy's max HP, which is quite powerful. Merrily, who has high attack speed, high attack, high crit, and is able to deal true damage. And then finally, yeah, I think I actually talked about everything here. So as you can see, Corrin actually did just about as much damage as Merrily, if not more. Okay, so we actually achieved a pretty respectable score here, 54 mil, and we actually bumped up to number 6, so that was pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and showcase the next team. Okay, so the next team here, we actually moved Smokey to the front. We're going to move Thorn here, Rainier here, and we're going to swap with Odie. Okay, so we're essentially swapping Corrin with Odie, so let's see how this performs. This is kind of interesting. And you know, I think when the global release happened for AFK Journey, a lot of people knew that Odie was the GOAT because he was he was able to apply many stacks, I think like 20 stacks of poison with his normal attacks. So even if the enemy silences him, it really doesn't matter for his damage output. But a lot of people now... Oh, this is Smokey's blue aura, by the way, that turns... You see how much HP was taken off of Croaker just now? So, you know, when you get Smokey Mythic Plus, you're able to deal a ton of damage to chunky enemies, like the Dream Realm bosses as well as the Primal Lords. But yeah, I think a lot of people realize now that, wow, Corrin is really good, both offensively and defensively. And by the way, so I did start a free-to-play account yesterday, and I do acknowledge that some of you guys may need to bring Coco to improve your survivability. Okay, this was kind of unfortunate. So this is kind of the problem with outgoing Corrin, is that as you saw, some of my teammates died. I dealt 2 mil less damage there. Okay, so I mean, this kind of highlights how powerful Corrin is able to do. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to show the damage calcs afterwards. I always do that for the second replay because I'm explaining more things. Okay, and then Cassidy. So the way Cassidy works is that she basically blesses your main DPS, which in this case I'm blessing Merrily. Merrily has high attack speed, which allows you to do more damage because Cassidy, whoever she blesses, every time that blessed unit deals normal attacks, does the normal attack, Cassidy does 60% magic damage onto the enemy additionally. So it's kind of like support damage, or follow-up attacks, you can say. And then at Mythic Plus, EX Weapon level 10, I can actually, sorry, I'll pull this up. Yeah, so exclusive skill level 3, so at EX Weapon level 10, when an enemy takes damage from Tidal Strength 6 times, they will be hit by Undercurrent once immediately. And this Undercurrent, that's this one right here, deals 240% damage, as opposed to the normal, when you bless your target, 60% magic damage. So, and then when Cassidy casts her ultimate, all of the allies within the tidal wave, when she casts her ultimate, get the same blessing. So you essentially, she's a support mage that is able to make everyone's damage deal follow-up attacks in the form of magic damage as well as undercurrent magic damage. So turns Cassidy into a DPS as well. I do like her a lot because... Ooh, I think I placed Smokey in the wrong section. Sorry, I was so busy explaining that I put Smokey the wrong spot, which might actually matter a lot. We'll see. It's really too bad that you can't back out and redo it, but it is what it is. We'll just use an attempt. And guys, if you have any questions, or if maybe you don't own all of these units, you can jump onto my live streams. I do live stream almost every day on twitch.tv/turtleags, and I can kind of, basically you can go into my Discord and in the account reviews submit screenshots of your team, and then I'll kind of theory craft something for you. Okay, so this time we actually didn't have the issue where we had other characters die besides Thorin. But wow, our damage went down significantly, but I do think it is partially due to the smoky placement. So as you can see, the smoky placement does matter quite a bit. Yeah. Okay, so now for the non-Rainier teams, we got 2 more left. So we got Corrin, Smokey. I do think this team will do better. King Cassidy becomes extra important without... Cassidy will be extra important without Rainier. And I think one of the main reasons why Corrin and Merrily have become the meta-defining teams for all Dreamrealm bosses is because in addition to both of them doing true damage, and in addition to Corrin shielding your weakest ally as well as himself, as well as them being mobile units that are able to jump around the map, they also are physical attackers, which makes Kruger's 40% physical defense shred very potent, very valuable for your team. Basically, all your DPSs take advantage of Kruger's physical defense shred, which Odie is not able to take advantage of because Odie is a magic damage dealer. And I'm just kind of getting ahead of myself here to kind of prep you for the final team, which instead of Cassidy, we're going to run Kruger. So I'm curious to see how the performance will be. And I think this showcase illustrates that character placement is very important. We achieved 52 mil versus the poor placement of my previous Rainier team. And the reason for that discrepancy in points is because Smokey placement is very important. It's unfortunate that with Smokey, his healing range, his aura is not the largest, so that matters a lot. Ideally, you do want to bring him closer to the front. And some of you guys may be wondering why, I actually don't agree with this with the Odie. I do think Corrin is better. Let me do Corrin first. I do think Corrin is better in this setup, but let's find out. Might as well test it out. And by the way, pretty much all my characters are fully built. My Odie, Merrily, and Corrin are EX15, and the rest of my units that you see here are all EX10, with their hero focus maxed out. And I'm doing all of these showcases to you, not to bore you, but just to show the difference and maybe explain the nuances here. That claw mark on King Croaker is the debuff. Some people ask me if it's necessary to build Kruger. I do think that investing in Kruger is worth it, at least get him Mythic Plus, because that improves his survivability, because he actually does decent damage, and I'll show you at the end with the damage calcs how much damage Kruger does in relation to everyone else. And the reason why I decided to go with Corrin instead of Odie is twofold. One is for the shields to improve survivability, and two, Corrin is a physical attacker versus Odie, who is a magic attacker. But what's interesting to note here is that our damage is significantly lower. We had 52 mil up until this point. We got a whole 5 mil less. So that is very interesting. That goes to show that Odie does make a huge difference. Or Cassidy makes a huge difference, I'm sorry. So now finally we swap to Odie. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to... I wish I could go back and show you the damage counts. It doesn't matter, you saw the points, it wasn't as much. But I'll try to remember to show the final score, or the final damage performance from all the units at the end of the match. I wish they would just automatically show it, because I think everybody wants to know. That's fine. Ooh, and this is kind of the problem of not having Corn. Odie almost died there. And my Odie's EX15, so if he was any weaker, he would have died right there. Oh, Smokey's looking like he might die. Almost. Okay, so interesting. So this was better. 50 mil versus 47 mil when you swapped Odie with Corn.